Hello, fellow Mythrunians. Welcome to another weekly live stream. Tonight we'll be working on more of the portal effects, only this time not the full screen portal blindness effect, but the actual particle effects and stuff for the portal pads. And anyway, I'll explain when we get into it. Let's go ahead and thank the patrons while we're here. They keep the lights on around here, although I'm kind of wishing that they could give me some more heat because it's been cold here. Alright, without too much further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, okay, so now the camera's on, the nose begins to itch. Once again, up in the upper left corner is where you can download the latest version. One of the things I plan to do over the Christmas break, if I have time, is try to add the server admin stuff that I'm going to need to make this more public, where I feel more comfortable sharing the link as a direct link instead of making people type it in. I mean, one of the issues now is that I just don't have the tools that I need to deal with griefing and restoring the world if people mess with it or something. So I'm gonna get that set up, and then, hey, how's it going? Norai, I can't. My eyesight's not great. Okay, so hey, Oak. So let's go ahead and talk about what I've been up to. So I've been designing more of the portal stuff. I needed, without too many spoilers, I needed to have timed events. I guess I don't remember how long. So hey, look at that pretty desert. So without spoiling too much, part of the moon gates will be related to time of day, if the name wasn't obvious enough already. So I designed the time scheduling system that will be used for stuff like that to automatically trigger the portals to be enabled and disabled and stuff. There's going to be other conditions that make the portals active and not, but that's the big one. I've been playing with positioning. In fact, let me, and so here I've also been playing with portal linkages. So here is like where I am now, and there's another portal here, and this is where I link to, and there's a portal down here, and you can see like it links off the map because I'm trying to make sure without, the red lines are the ones that like they're 12 kilometers away, and that's about the max distance. Oh, nice. How's that going? So at any rate, so I got like the portal linkages working. I have, see if I re-enable it. It's the crappy version right now because the triggers themselves don't work, but if I were to jump into that center area, it's going to present me the options on where I can teleport to, which is not how it would normally work. So like I can go, so this is showing me more than actually exist, than will actually really exist, because in the real version, the West 3.9 would override the West 12.2. Oh, okay, Xerneas. Kinda well. Open world games are hard. Open world games take a lot of work. I know, I speak from experience. So anyway, if we go West 3.9, it will warp us over there. Oops. And of course re-trigger. And so like, yeah. So I've been working on position of the gates themselves. But so now we are over here where we used to be over here. And these lines won't really be on the map. Those are just for me to debug it. Eventually the player will have the ability to make their own lines on the map if they want to. So if we come back over here, we can go east and we'll go back to where we were. So we go east 3.9. And we're back where we were. Man, this is a lot slower when the live stream's on. So now we're back where we were. So like all these spheres are just kind of test positions. This is the position of the temple itself. And so I was trying to use that to place the center trigger, which is what just opened that dialogue. I'm having trouble getting these smaller triggers to react. And the way those will work is when there's a link in that particular direction, that's when that particular object would be enabled. So you wouldn't always have the 8 around here. It just depends on what other linkages. And so the general idea I'm going for, and let me go ahead and disable that pop-up dialog again real quick, is that when you first come to the portal, assuming it's active, so this is the effect we want. When you approach the portal, it wouldn't have any of those around. It wouldn't have this either, but there'd be sort of a large glowing sphere to let you know something's going on here. And then in the center, where that is, on this pad, there'll be some kind of sparkly effect. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to come up with something that looks like maybe it's dangerous, but also enticing at the same time. And so you would walk up here and here, and then once you're in here, you start to get enveloped by the sparklies, and then the portals would open up in the different directions, and then you, because you're all sparkly, can walk through one of them and go teleporting in that direction. Anybody standing around who just walks into this, it won't work for them. They've got to be... crap. I'm like stuck in the... There we go. They've got to be in the center in order to... Yeah, we've got lag because we're right on a world tile boundary. At any rate, that's the way it's supposed to work. So I've got to come up with effects for all those things. And, of course, we worked on some of that last week. For the portal blindness, I think I'm also going to use that for the portals, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I just like... I mean, it took me so long to find a world that had a decent-sized desert, and, man, this one's got a huge one. It's like the largest desert I've ever seen. And so you can go wandering off to the north. Yeah, so that's even... So the desert actually extends to the north. So you can see desert as far as the eye can see this direction. And there's some green mesas out there. There's a name for that. They happen in South America, right, where they're really tall plateaus that's green on top. So anyway, so let's get started making effects and things. So that's kind of the makeup of the... Hopefully I don't think I spoiled too many things. Well, I mean, if you're watching, you now know how portals work, whereas somebody who just came up and just saw the sparkly pad and the big glowy thing might say, "Whoo, should I step in there? What happens?" You now at least know the mechanics, which is a bit of a spoiler. That's the kind of thing that's supposed to be spread around in books and other lore for the game. So let me go back and show you. Last week we were messing with the portal blindness effect, and let me show you. I tweaked it a little bit after we were done, just to change the colors and fix that one issue that I had with the flashing. And so I think it turned out pretty good. I don't like the colors necessarily. Because it's supposed to be portal blindness, the background needs to be just sort of a bright color. So I think that's going to still be like a pinkish purple, but it's going to be closer to gray. And then these blue clouds, because it's supposed to be like, you know, first of all, it's going to be the effect you have when you first enter the portal, while the game is transitioning you there. And then once you're there, as the world loads in, you know, you'll see sort of the near plane recede, and this will be sort of depth-wise sorted in with the regular world until eventually, you know, the fog lifts completely and you can see the far terrain and so on and so forth. But the way this is set up, it's just a texture on a quad, which I think is kind of cool to look at. The other neat thing is because it's fractal, it's got infinite detail. We can really like come in almost to the point of going through the plane here, and we would still get detail. It's kind of cool. So you guys can't feel how weird it is when I'm flying in and out of this quad, but it feels really strange to back up out of the quad as this stuff is coming towards you because it's moving about as fast as the camera moves. So anyway, that's kind of, I think it's a cool effect. And all just like with, 10 lines of math and a fractal texture, I think it's kind of cool. And so what I've done, I made sort of a keep track of what I'm doing kind of thing. We need to sort of design the different effects for the things, for the overall state of the portal. I think I want it to look like kind of an orb. Perhaps I'll reuse the moon texture, but make it like transparent blue and spinning or something like that. Then we have to hook that into the actual game so that can be a shape that can be used, and we'll add the shape info to replace that current sphere I've got and make it bigger. We've got particle effects for the activation pad, so we'll play with JMonkey Engine's particle effects. I think I can use the default particle effect control. And so then we got to hook that in and put it on the pad. That's something we might actually get done today. And then for the portal graphics, I think I'm just what I want is so to play with this. Excuse me. I set up the scripter application with a spirit hinge loaded. Ugh, I hate it when it does that. So we've got like a spirit hinge loaded here that we can play around with placing things in, and then I put that texture on just on a little quad, like a portal sized quad. But I think when in the real version I'm going to make an oval, and then probably give it sort of a faded border, perhaps with their own like particle effects around the edge. But I think that would look kind of cool. Different colors obviously, but that'll be the thing you step into to make your portal thing start. So this is where we'll play around with adding objects and effects and things. I already set this up so that you guys didn't have to watch me do that. So we are all ready to go, and I just need to remember how to do JMonkey Engine portals. First of all, let me make sure I can locate that center. I like to put these in little blocks so I can turn them on and off. In fact, I may turn off that portal quad in the background just to so see, now it's gone, just to avoid distractions. So I need to make sure I can locate the because we're centering. No, we're not centering the hinge. It is where it is. So that may mean it's already centered, but the point being, I need to figure out where this is in the world so that I can put something there. And I think what we'll do initially is just make a box, a little teeny box. And then I think I can steal actually this will be interesting. Let's steal all this stuff, and then it'll be a box with noise on all the sides. See if that works. Nope, I did something wrong. No signature method box. Oh, haven't imported those. Yeah, it should have it. New? No, I didn't say new. Helps if I can get the basic Java stuff down. Okay, so now we've got a cool little cube thing. It's a lot bigger than I expected it to be. Oh, because everything is quarter scale. Yeah. So I think I think I looked at this earlier, and it's right smack in the middle. Caught in the middle. Yeah, so we're right under there. So let's not center. Yeah, okay, so the box is already centered. Let's move it up one. What I want to find is sort of where 0, 0 in the corner. I've lost track of whether which way is north, south, east, west, sort of. So let's make that down a little bit more. Okay. So that might be 0, 0 right there. Let's move it up a little bit. And see. So if I do this, it moved it this way. So maybe I was wrong about where 0, 0 is. Let's make this box a lot smaller. Alright. Yeah, so these blocks are going to be quarter sized. So that would be 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 2, 5, because this is half extents. So that's a block size, but it's also centered. So if we do, that puts its corner at an, well, yeah, without the center, that puts its corner at a corner. Yeah. This is not doing what I want, really. So what if I add 1? Okay, so that sent it. Oh, because we're in. Yeah, that's right. This is a meter. So I really need to scale everything by a quarter. And I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll make my own route that I can scale. And then I won't have to worry about let's make an effect route. New node effects. Add model effect route. And then instead of add model here, we can just say effect route attach child. Geom. Okay, so now that's way over there. Just kind of where we put it. And then let's go back to making this. Sorry, this is taking so long. This is kind of the boring part. So let's put this back at 0, 0, 0. We want it, actually we want it to, okay. And then we'll set the scale of effect route. Set the scale of effect route to be 0.25. Okay. Now I gotta find my. Okay, there it is. Alright, so now it should be on an even block if I move it up to. Not there. Down here. So if I move that up to Should be sitting right on the pedestal. Yep. Okay. Now we know where we are. Looks kind of cool square. This is what I mean, like, that's a small object, but if we get close to it, oops, you know, it gets all the detail because it's fractal. I think it's cool. That's one of the neat things about generated textures is they have sort of as much detail as you want. Alright, so we know where we need to be, and now let's make a particle effect. So I brought up the documentation for JMonkey Engine's particle emitter, and yeah, so they leave a lot to be. You have to sort of already know what you're doing by the time you get to here, because they assume that you've already set up a node, and because this particle emitter, it won't work on its own. You've got to attach that to. No, they attach child fires. Particle. Oh, maybe it's a geometry. We can actually have the Java doc open. Particle emitter. I think I had it open in a different window already. Anyway. Particle emitter. Oh, so we can just use the emitter directly. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so we want to start basic. Excuse me. Let us. What package is this in? Yes, we're going to need all this. Going to need to import that, or we're going to have a bad time. Alright. So let's make a new one. Set this to false. And so def geom equals new particle emitter. Let's just do what they've got. Let's follow the tutorial. I always tell other people to do that. So let's see, is it going to compile? No such property type. Okay, so it is. The type they want is particle mesh type, which we will import directly. Actually, maybe I will just put it in. Okay, so we created one. It doesn't have any of the things it needs. That's what we will add next. Yeah, because they don't do. Create one emitter for each effect. But like they haven't. So if we do. Make sure it's above everything so that we'll see it. Just make sure it's really above everything so we'll see it. And then effect root attach child geom. And let's do. No, that's good. Yep. So let's just do this. And see what happens. Bad things happen. No such property explosion. Oh, yeah. That's what cut and paste coding is all about. Making dumb mistakes. Okay. Oh. Yep. So we, you got to set up the material. It's the part that they leave out. Oops. Because it's just a quick and dirty rundown of the, so I have to fix that before. So then they do like a more full example down here. So, yep, particle. And I will use my own that's fine. I will use my own texture though. Textures dash stars, capital stars. Nope, lowercase stars. Just for now. And then, did they set it on the? Nope, but we will. Jump set material flash. It's not 2 columns. We have 1 row, and I think yes, basically JMonkey and just smoke texture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Okay, so no, okay, so this is the geom. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's see what this does. Oops, wrong, go back. Okay, there we go. Let's see if it compiles. See what it looks like with defaults. Ooh, something didn't like it. No such property asset manager. That would be true. App.assetManager. Alright. No such property flash. Oh yeah, flash mat. I'm going to change the names of all these in a second. Okay, so we made something. Where'd it go? There it is. Oh boy. Actually, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so that's the other interesting thing is you've got to set the bounding shaper. It's going to disappear as soon as you're not looking. Like it, we are still in it. Okay. All right. That is more or less not what we want. I mean, well, we see something that's important too. I think that's just set up to. Oh, that's interesting. It restarted itself after a while. Was that because I moved it? It might have been. Yeah, so because it didn't get an update for a while. All right, well, we got something. And so now we can play with the parameters a little bit. I'm trying to decide what the defaults are. Because, well, first of all, we're doing triangle instead of point. We can do point. I think for this is what I want. It didn't like that. Point clouds are sensitive to something. JMonkey Engine's point clouds. We are missing something. So here's a full example. So they're using the triangle again, so they're not going to... so... Actually, a fire effect is not far from what I want to do. So if we take this and what are they using for their let's change this to just matte. I'm tired of yeah. Okay. So we don't want that. We're gonna do. I'll change this to geom dot. Place. Yeah. Let's not do that. And so this is 15. Let's see what happens. Oh well, we've got to change this back to triangle. I don't know why point's not working, but I remember that JMonkey Engine's particle thing is sensitive to that. Oh, this is ugly. Especially where scale and stuff is concerned. Woo! I mean, my fire looks better. So let's change this to be, we want probably 1, 0.5, 0.5, 0.15. Yeah, these are not red and yellow anymore. Okay. So, but I want the scale of those particles to be much smaller. Start size 0.1 F. Okay. Whee! And I wonder what emitter shapes I have available, because we're not setting that yet. Initial velocity always up. No gravity. We could turn that off. Then the idea is they'd always go up. Oh, there is still some variation. So what if we set to 0? Or maybe there's something else that controls the random direction. Oh, okay, so that does. Alright, but I want the emitter shape to be wide. Oh, we want them. No, they do start out. Start size, end size, start gravity, low life. I mean, this is all way too big, but okay. Let me get the emitter shape set up. Where do I set that? Or is it the particle influencer? And default particle influencer. Alright, something in here had emitter shape as a set shape. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, set shape. Okay, emitter shape. Box shape. Point shape. Face shape. No, mesh face shape. I don't want box because it will... I think if we set up a quad, we can use this one. So let's mesh quad 1,2. Let's just make sure def shape equals new emitter shape list of quad. Oopsie. I was trying to be Java-like, but I think we'll just have to be Groovy-like. I hate it when the syntax error is bad enough that it kills the... Okay, at least we ran. No signature of method. Emitter shape is active for list. Quad, what? Say what? Oh, emitter, face shape, yeah, that's what we're doing. Oh, again, I'm messing up because I cut and paste, I forgot to put the new. Okay, now it doesn't like emitter mesh face shape. Did they put this in another package? They did. They is me. I'm one of the developers, so I can't really complain. Okay, what have we got here? Have you looked into compute shaders? I briefly looked into it. It doesn't interest me as much. What I want to do doesn't require compute shaders. And in fact, even particle effects, I can do a lot in a regular vertex shader, and have done. Okay, we ran it okay. Now we should be able to say geom set shape, and okay, that's not really what I want. I think. What if... Make sure I'm not overriding. That all looks good. What if we make the quad really big? What does that do? Okay, so that definitely affected it. Yeah, so it's being spread out. But we want our quad to lay down. And so what we really want is new mesh, not mash, mesh, quad dot set, and I just cut and paste this because quad is really simple. It's really nice. So it's really easy to cut and paste the buffer stuff, although we're gonna get compile problem if we do that. So let's set float width equals 4, float height equals 4, and does that, that's not going to work, okay. Right, because Groovy doesn't like this way of initializing a float array. Can I just do this? I was trying to make this as much Java code as possible because I do plan to put it back into Java. Ooh, don't like that either. No signature method set buffer is applicable for, yeah, like, so can I say as float? I can. Aha! Okay. So that did the same thing, right? Alright. But we want it to lay down. So that's what I came here to do. Instead of using height there, we'll use height as the Z. And we'll put zeros here. Doink. And now we should get a flat. Yeah, okay. So now we're emitting from some magic face in here somewhere. Set low life. What does low life and high life do? Maybe I've got these set wrong. Low life has a somewhere it said, because I've seen it lifetime set low life. The time period before a particle fades, oh, is set to a random value between minimum and maximum. Minimum must be smaller than maximum. Minimum is less than 1. A minimum less makes the effect more busy. Right. So let's get rid of, let's essentially make these the same. Or 2.9 for now. And so this should be constant upfloating particles that are, oh, because, oh, it like shoot, and then stops because it's got to wait for those particles to dissipate. So we get little bursts. I really want those to be more what is the default particle.j3md? What is the default setup for its blend modes? Particle. It sets alpha additive, depth right off, point sprite on. Yeah, because alpha would give us bad things. But I wonder if there's a better blend mode. Anyway, we'll see them better if we turn on a regular blend mode. So let's do that. to have pulled in blend mode. Yeah, so this is what I expected. But we see them now. How do I set... Why are they initially starting out so transparent? Oh, this is backwards. I thought start color. That's what I wanted. There we go. So we are emitting from here because, oh yeah, we set ourselves way up in the air. Yeah, what we really want is 2, and we want the width and the height to be 1 and 1. So now we should get little bursts out of the thing. Yeah, we're getting there. Right? Now how do I set the scale of these guys? And the lifetime as well. What if we set this down to 1 and this to 2? Okay, we're getting somewhere. We get little breaks in the... Okay, but I want these to be all smaller. Where do I set the start size? Ah, so we want them to be little teeny guys. And maybe they start a little bigger and end up smaller. That's kind of ridiculous. Let's slow them down a little bit. Okay, slow them down, shorten the life a lot. Point. Pew pew, exactly. Okay, so we've got... Alright. So we want to shorten the life even more. 2.0, 0.5F. I mean, we're starting to get closer to what I want. Looks pretty ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. And I want more particles than that for sure. So we gotta realize the player is this tall, so that's gonna... I want these to be probably shorter still. So let's put this at 0.1, 0.4. Yeah, that's closer. Seems to really want to put particles in that far corner. I wonder if the algorithm they use to place it is weighted incorrectly. I mean, the other thing we have a real problem with is the blend mode. I think I'm going to make these a little bigger. Let's double their size. Yeah, see, it's spending a lot of time. I suspect they're not doing like a Gaussian distribution over the particle. I'm going to use a box instead. Now that I understand how they're dealing with mesh, the emitter box shape is probably closer to what I want. And maybe better for another reason. So if we set our min at 0, 0, 0, and our max 1, 1, 1, what's that gonna do? I don't even really know if it reran the script. It appears to have. So that didn't really fix the problem. It's going to make some particles appear right in the middle. Right in the middle. So let's make it a flat box. So at least going back to, yeah, just producing. But yeah, that's not going to fly. I may have to write my own particle emitter just because of that. That is unfortunate. So let's make more particles. Yeah, see, that's not right. Hey, you know what though? I've already modified the JMonkey engine source to my own needs. Let me make sure the box is really where I think it is. So we ought to be able to... So basically, these would be in the same place if I put this back and did this. And this. We should get a little pad, yeah. So see, the box is right where we want it to be. Yeah, I'll move that up a little bit so that we can see it. Right, so that's where we're generating the... That looks cool. Not at all the effect I'm going for, but it looks neat. I see why people get frustrated. Particle systems are just weird sometimes, without some kind of editor to mess with them. But this is a problem. Let's look at the JMonkey engine code real quick. So, effect, shapes. Mesh vertex. Oh, that's not what I want. I could write my own shape, but let's see what's going on with the box shape. Get random point. It should be well distributed. Get random point at normal does nothing with the normal. So why does it feel like we're getting a lot of... Is it zeros? Let's put this back for a second. Oops, wrong. I mean, it's one thing when I have to interrupt the live stream to debug my own code. I also think maybe those are going too fast. But let's do one thing at a time. I'm going to put this back temporarily and just confirm that that is really 0, 0. So if I shift this just a little to the one side, yeah, so this is positive x, and yep, so this is 0, 0, and it tends to pick values closer to 0. Oops. So sometimes random is not random. Not as random as you'd like. So let's see what next random float is doing. Maybe it's doing something weird. I think I know what it's doing, and it shouldn't be weird, but next random float to just do an ran next float. So they should be pretty evenly distributed between 0 and 1. Which is why it's weird. Come on. Sometimes my hand goes numb. Alright. Making sure I'm not doing something dumb here. So box emitter shape works exactly like I thought it would. It's picking a random value between this and this, which should be well distributed. Oh, but for some reason isn't. Let us take the... will this blow up? Nope. So let's take the randomness out of the life cycle, but see, it's still... you can see it clearly here. Most of the values are coming down here. That is not at all what I want. Anyway, probably I can mess with that another time. Let's go back to the default blend mode and see if this new way looks... yeah, see, it's just so bad. I wonder if we contributed a spin to everything, if that would help. We could give a little bit of gravity, which might make those things fall down a little bit. Let's put the blend mode back so we can see the particles do their thing. Oh yeah, they don't have time to... they don't have time to fall back down. That's fine. Put the gravity back the way it was. I was just goofing around. So initial velocity. There's something else we can set with respect to velocity. Is there an end velocity? So there's an initial velocity. Let's check the emitter influencer. That's the one. Yeah, so there's no start and end velocity. So randomness will change the direction they fly, and that's not really what I want. See, like it would make them fly off in different directions. That's more like fire. I need it to be like energy flying up into the air. Okay, so we've got all that working like it's supposed to. One thing is these. Okay, so it does start off. Yeah, okay, so it does start off at 1. That's fine. It's just that emitter shape that's really bugging me. I wonder, though. Actually, let's do this and override should be just calling that one, so and then that's assuming that it always gets a good one. Yep, okay. So let me just verify that there's not something else going on in the emitter code. Okay, so this should remove all variation from it. So it's just coming out of there. So if I set it if I set this to 1, oh. That's interesting. So there is some randomness built into the emitter positioning on its own. So what if we set both of these to 1? That's a bug, I betcha. Okay, so it mostly comes out over here. But yeah, there's some, even after we set our randomness, there's some randomness going on. That's not good. Because emitter shape doesn't do anything but this. And we can verify just in case it's so just copy this from here, and I'm going to make sure. Oh, you know what the other thing could be? I wonder if the normal is getting set weird. No, it's still random, even though we are saying emit in the same place all the time. Oh boy, JMonkey Engine. I do see why people find our particle system frustrating. There's some longer history there. Particle emitter, what does it do with the shape? The default shape is just a point shape, yeah. Shape. Okay. So influence particle is not called here. Particle influencer decides. So what does default particle influencer do? Default particle influence, emitter shape, get random point, apply velocity variation, which should be 0. Okay. Let's see if that's really the issue. I mean, I'm not really reading the code here, but if we set our own influencer, so first let's just set the influencer. I think it's probably set. Oh. Influencer equals new default particle influencer, which is going to fail because we haven't imported that. I'll put this here. Oh. Yeah, okay. Probably they spelled it influencers. Yep. Someone told me once that package names in general should be singular because you don't have a tools box, you have a toolbox. And so when I see pluralized package names, I always think back to that. Okay, so geom set influencer. And it don't like that. Is it particle influencer? Is this the one in case they spelled it out? Yep. So it should be exactly the same as before. Yep. Okay, but now we can override that one method we were looking at. To do nothing, basically. Who sets the initial position of the particle, though? Oh, that does. Yeah. So let's just confirm that apply velocity is or is not the issue. Because if we override it and do nothing, and everything starts okay, everything is still randomly distributed. Even though we've set a constant value. Okay, so there's another bug somewhere. Yeah, it's just not at all. So P position, add local P dot size. Oh, but that's setting the temp, so yeah. So what is setting particle position? Make scale relevant somehow. Yeah, this is another problem, is that the reason I had to set things so tiny is because scale is not being used for the particle emitter. Apparently. At least it feels that way. I mean, it must be. Alright, so we are going to emit a particle and let's look for dot position. Is world space the default? Let's check that. Is world space true default? Yes. So that's another potential source here, this transform vector. Oh, it should be fine. That's not random. Random angle, rotation speed. None of those affect the position. This is trying to find the size. So size is a half extent. So that helps me realize why I had to make it so small. Okay, so none of those set. Okay. This one, so gravity is 0, so this should do nothing. Velocity should not be random, so it should be doing nothing also. We're just using it to compute the bounding volume. Interpolate local. Last position. We shouldn't have a last position. Wait. What is last position? This is interpolating between our point and 0, 0, it looks like. Spawns particles within the TPF sign proper age. Why is it interpolating? Because this isn't last position of our particle, it's last position of any particle. We never set it. What is last position set to? So if we have a last position, not just for our particle, but for any particle, we interpolate between that and our current particle's position. And last position is always going to be 0, 0, or I see. We're interpolating based on our movement, but this is not really what we want to do here. It's also ignoring the world space flag. JMonkey Engine, you are not doing the right thing here. But this is why. So is in world space. What is? I think I can fix this by setting world space false. So I can bypass this bug because it just for reference, wherever we were just now, this should not just be interpolating between our position and last position. Last position is the position of the emitter itself. It should be interpolating between our position relative to last position and our current position. we can't really do this, because basically this is always going to make us, it's always going to interpolate us relative to 0, 0 right here, and that's what this is doing. We're constantly setting this to 1, and depending on when that runs, it's setting us in here. I don't know why it's random. Our TPF should be pretty constant. At any rate, if I'm right, setting in world space to false should fix the problem, because it'll bypass that bug. So geom set, yeah, I did. Aha. False. So if I'm right, we should be getting it just out of one spot now. Yep, look. Yay. Okay, so we should be able to put this back, and that'll make everything bubble all over the surface. Ah, look at that. And then we can go back to the regular influencer. Yay. Even the size looks more correct now. Yeah, so there's basically world space is all messed up. My version of JMonkey Engine is quite a few revisions old, so they could have fixed all these problems. But now we need bigger sizes, because that's too small. I wonder if I want them to start small and get bigger, or start big and get smaller. Let's see what happens if we just do this. They never change size at all. And so, like, all of the stuff is behaving better now. Which means we can probably bump up these as well. This should not have taken so long. Okay. So I think I can... I think we probably want that to be... I want more of them, basically. There won't be a lot of these on the same screen, so let's double them again. Alright, I mean... maybe we can make them live a little longer, on average. Occasionally make it all the way up to 1 meter. Yeah. And if we put some kind of glowy cloud in the middle, we increase the size more. This is what it looks like when they start small and get bigger. You see, that's more like fire. That's not really the effect I'm going for. So let's start. Let's maybe go big and get smaller. So it just doesn't feel like I'm getting all of my particles. Could be that because they're blocking each other out. So let's take the blend mode off again, so that this blend added alpha would just layer them up. Yeah, okay, so I mean this is not really the effect I want, but I think without redefining the sprite itself, this is probably the best I'm going to get. But the other thing I want to do is move the emitter shape, because I don't like the fact that they intersect the bottom so much, so we will move it. float y offset equals 0.01f. Actually, let's 5 centimeters. Hey Max, how's it going? Oh, we're not using this quad for anything anymore. So that doesn't go do that. Not going to do me nothing. So we could do 0.01f. So it'll move it up a little bit. Yeah, it's not enough, but I think I said 5 centimeters would be better. And we want to move it in from the sides a little bit too. Okay, let's float margin equals 0.2f. And so what we'll do is we will say margin minus margin. So that right now it's doing over the whole quad, and I'm going to move it in from the sides a little bit when I hit this. Oopsie, except for I messed something up. So Groovy's screwing me again. Let's put these on like that so I can see them better. Yeah, so see, margin is a float. It's doing the math. This is annoying. I'm not really sure who to be more annoyed at, to be honest. The fact that JMonkey uses floats for everything is a constant source of annoyance, but okay. So one of the reasons it interacts weird with this background is because that's a transparent background. Oh, you know, it's because it's being rendered behind that because we didn't set the we're transparent, so we have to set the set Q bucket to bucket transparent. So it's rendering us with all of the opaque objects. But bucket Q bucket, there we go. So watch. This changes how it sorts in with the other QRSTUV. Oh, that didn't fix it. Oh, because we failed to. Oh, we're running. Is it a layering problem? So just in case, did I set the bucket on the right thing? I did. So layer, what did I name it again? Hey, I've still got Pepsi. Yeah, well, fog, especially if it's a full screen fog, is a weird thing anyway, but this is something else. It's a sort problem. The I believe this is being drawn after this, and I suspect it has to do that without looking at the grid code that I wrote, I'm going to assume that it's setting a layer for the layer comparator. So Lemur has this cool thing, the layer comparator, where you can force a sort order between different things by setting a layer. And I suspect it sets a layer to 0 or something, and layer comparator. Yep, I had it right. Set layer geom What did we want? A layer. Okay. That geom 5. Let's let's always make it at the end. Okay, so that should I fix it? Yep. Okay. So yeah, it's just this must have set a layer, and if it set the layer to 1, then it would always be rendered on top of this. So that's better. I'm gonna use a different, better geometry, but this is pretty close. I mean, this is okay. It's not all the way I envisioned it in my mind. What I really want is little lines with orbs on them, that come up. So I want these guys to have like a little line through them, like speed lines kind of, if you think about it. But this gets the point across. If you stand on that, things happen. But now that we've got things looking like they're supposed to, I can probably increase the size again. Not of the particles. I actually think they're kind of too big. But the height. So let's set low life to 1.5, and this is going to be too much, but I want to see what it looks like. So yeah, I mean, because a meter is a block, they should definitely. Let's do some that don't last that long. Okay. If I still used my own emitter shape, I could have done a Gaussian distribution, which means that it would be sort of round, which is probably closer to what I want. Well, I'm kind of nerding out, though. Let's make this 0.05. And we will bring this back down a little bit. And this back up a little bit. Now here, so while we got this on, let me show you what some of the other things do if you've never dealt with particle effects before. But now we've got something working, I can show you what some of these other things would have done. So we could have set the velocity variation to like all over the place, right? We could set it to a smaller value, which would just make a big cone, right? And because of that, some of these live shorter and longer and so on. If we put this back up to a ginormous number, oh, that's supposed to be, let's make this, there we go. Right, so these are all like shooting out at different angles. Let me take off blend mode again so that you can see the particles. Some of these are not living very long. So let's do 2.25. Let's make everything live. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to emit everything and they'll come out. Yeah, okay, so everything's just shooting straight. Now if we set the gravity to like -10, oh, it's not, it's backwards. There we go. To 1. Okay, so yeah, so now everything wants to fall like a fountain, right? And we could change the velocity. Yeah, so it like bubbles like a fountain, right? So you got these different things at your disposal, and so that could be like, we've got the dry ice in the cup, and it's just kind of bubbling over the edge. It's not a bad effect on its own. It's just not what I'm going for here. Anyway, just so that's what some of these other things do. So let's put this back the way it was. And this back to 0. Because that's sort of what I want. That's a good start. They're running on the CPU. And that's the thing, is this would be really easy to move to the GPU, but it would be harder for me to do on a live stream. I never used the JMonkey Engine particle system. And so, you know, something else went wrong here. I screwed something up. Because I feel like those were shooting out taller before. So I set something else that I've forgotten. Oh, I've still got gravity on, that's why. So they're being sucked back down. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, I much prefer to do particle effects on the GPU, and then I would write just a custom shader to do exactly what I wanted in this case. And might still, but it's hard to do on a live stream, and I kind of wanted to play with JMonkey Engine's particle emitter because I haven't in a long time, and I sort of remember why now. But here's what I was talking about. This these guys, they do, yeah, so it's square. Let me turn the blend mode back so you can see, like, it's emitting out to all the corners. And I think we can fix that by going back here. I think we only need that one. So we're back to only being out of there. That's fine. And if instead we did float math random, right, we get, again, a square distribution. But Java gives us also a Gaussian distribution. Can we get that right out of math, or do we have to create a random? So apparently not here, so let's look at random, unless I'm spelling it wrong. PQR. Yep, next Gaussian. So we would have to do is it gonna let me do this? And then, so let's just make sure this works. The other, I'm ignoring my, okay, so that should have worked. It still worked, yep. I'm ignoring my start and end points. Well, no, I changed, anyway, it doesn't matter. I need to put my margin back, but it could be that if I do, let me just make sure I spell it right. Doink. Whoa. Okay, so Gaussian is not within 0 and 1. There should be about between 0 and standard deviation 1 from this. I would have expected it to be between 0 and 1. Is it not? Is it Did I do something else wrong? Just let me be sure. Next Gaussian. With mean 0 and standard deviation 1. I think it's between -1 and 1. Because the mean would be 0 and the standard, yeah. So it's between -1 and 1. So we need to 0.5 plus, wait, this, yeah, 0.5 plus this times 0.5 to put it back in our 0 to 1 domain. I'm still wrong. This is me being perplexed. Yeah, with mean 0 and standard deviation 1. So it could be like all kinds of... There's a max and a min, but I don't, off the top of my head, remember what they are. And I'm usually plugging it into trig functions when I use it. So we could be crazy. That's not gonna work. Let's just print line. Bring it there. Let's just do this. If anybody knows off the top of their head who's on the chat, you could let me know. So we got it 1.2 there. Yeah, so I think it's like square root of 2 plus or minus square root of 2 maybe. No matter, we would just not mess with it. We'll go back to our standard box shape. Alright. Standard box shape, we can put the blend mode back. I kind of want to see this in the game though, so I really do not like the look of this. Alright, but let's see if we can put it in the game anyway. It's not at all what I was going for, and we had to use a lot of particles to make that look even halfway decent. I also kind of want like a Alright. So this is going to be one of those things that I tweak a bajillion times. I wonder if I just use a different... Let me see what I have as far as better images go. Let's see. Mythruna. See if I've got something to start with. Source, main, textures. can steal some of the flowers. What I really want is the original that I made that from Magic Flowers PSD. That's what I want. Okay, so then these little orbs I think will make better they will make better sprites. So let's make this. We want to make a new image. I don't think it, I mean, how big is the one we've got? Image size 256. I don't think we need one that big. Whoops. New. 128. 128. We'll call them wisps. Create. Alright, boink. And then what I want to do is move this out of the way for a second. I want to divide this up probably into 4 by 4. Which means if I'm in 128, 128 divided by 4 is 32, right? 32 and layer, new layer, stroke, okay, duplicate layer, I think there's a way to just make a grid in Photoshop or in Photopea. I did something wrong. Oh, well, it drew it outside. That's one of the issues. Okay, so edit, stroke, inside. That's what I want. I thought it was weird that it's was off the edge of the canvas. So anyway, I think Photoshop and Photo probably have a way to make a grid. Okay, so yes, this is what the way I expected. I wanted deselect. There we go. I wanted big fat borders. So then Control E, duplicate layer. Okay. Control E. Okay, layer. There's a method to my madness here. So see, now I have a place to put the so son of a bitch. Is that the eraser? Yeah, I can never remember. Okay. Boink, boink, boink. Oops, wrong. Okay, back to this. And we want to move this. No, no, no. That's right, because these got all added to the same. And then let's erase. It's clear, delete. Yeah, okay. So now I can move this around without. Okay, we got some more we can pull up. I'm just looking for the randomness that I already had in here. These are more similar than they're not, but every little bit helps. Ah, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Okay, I think I can fit it in here. Trying to avoid taking the... And later, if I wanted to make more variation, I could. I've got, 16 sprites to work from. May have messed myself up here. He can stay there. Well, no. Put him here. Put him here. Him here. Take everybody that's here. And then again, everybody that's here, and then delete them. Yeah, so see, these have places where the part of another orb was copied over. Okay. We can maybe see it better this way. Alright, I think that there's still some... yeah, okay, there's still a couple here. So we ought to be able to... Oh, it's close enough. Slide you over here. So, man, I hope this works, because I hope this looks okay. Because we spent a lot of time doing it. Okay, so let's see what the... Yeah, so we've got some extra garbage in some of these. Gonna have to merge all these together now. Okay. Well, I don't have to, but it's certainly easier. Why is it not erasing? If I go like this, yeah, it's not erasing at all. Am I still selected? Yeah, that's what I was. I was still selected somewhere. So it only erases inside the current selection. And so I had a selection somewhere. I don't think that these little traces, I don't know if you guys can even see them on YouTube, but little traces of the other orbs that came through. And I don't even think they would show up on the final thing, but just in case. Alright. Probably I wanted to make these... Well, they are kind of solid. Alright, so let's save this. Save it as PSD. Block set. Source, main, resources, textures, wisps. Export as PNG to the same location. Yes. And so we ought to be able to just change this to wisps.png. Boy, the 4 of you who've stuck around, I really appreciate it. So this is 4x4 now. Let's see. Uh-oh, didn't find it. Oh, that's because it's, yeah. Let's temporarily copy it over to this directory because that's what the issue is. Copy blocks. Oh wait, maker dot model set scripter portal to text. Do I already have textures? No, textures. Okay. Copy dot block set. It'd have to recompile or package that into a jar. And dot model set scripter. By putting it in the directory here, it can load it directly from the file system. Okay, so now if I just do this, badoink, and now it loads. Now we got different orbs. Whoa! Nice. Fighting for your life's important. So these, like, it's interesting. It must be... That's weird how they, like, shake around. Something's wrong with how it's indexing the sprite set. Oh, thank you. I'm not at all happy with it, so I'm glad you guys like it. So something is wrong with how it's indexing those sprites. Because it's getting clips of the other... Let me just make sure that this is not a problem with my texture. What I will do is make a black background and paint it. Oh, ooh. Yeah, so that's kind of ugly. I should have done this in black the whole time. So yeah, we've got a lot of garbage that I did not remove, and it turns out it is visible. I need to drop the size down a little bit. So I'll go back and fix these orbs later. I was kind of in a hurry. But yeah, I should have done it with a black background to begin with. Yeah, so these are actually, maybe I just smooth them out. Maybe the fact that they're not regularly shaped is okay. It would kind of be cool if they were little moon shapes, but... Alright, so that is better than it was. Let's say. Gosh. Okay, so those are pretty solid. Yeah, because they were flowers before. So I could probably get away with duplicating this and then doing a Gaussian blur on them. Ooh. Too much. So that's better than nothing, as they say. And if I duplicate it a couple times, let's make sure we're still within the grid. We are. Duplicate it again. Let's see what that looks like. They kind of look like cells, which actually doesn't bother me. I kind of like that idea, actually. It fits with something. Let me just save this too. Oh, I need to do that. I need to do the other one again anyway without these backgrounds. Oh yeah, see, that looks okay. I actually kind of like it. I don't know if it'll look okay in the thing, but you know, we do what we can. And so now I need to do this again. Yes. Yes, definitely. Restore, resave it, and pull it up. Yeah, the wobbling though. I'm not sure. Oh, they're rotating. No, they're not rotating. Where's that wobble coming from? Okay, we got blend mode alpha. They're doing a little bit. It's like they're changing. I wonder if it's randomly changing the sprite as they move, and so I really should have them all centered. Yeah, it kind of like, I'm kind of almost okay with it if it weren't quite so jittery. And so yeah, it's like they're indexing through, like it's animated. I bet that's the case. I don't know if there's anything I can do to control that. Let's see what they look like. Alpha add again. Ugh, they lose all their definition. I just really don't like alpha add sometimes. The problem with this is that the particles aren't sorted though, and so you get yeah, and really we'd want them to be brighter the whole time. So let's do this. Let's set the end color the same as the start color and see what happens. And really these should be 1 because we don't, they are already so that's, hey, so one of the reasons everything looked so but like it does not feel like I have 120 particles here. Let me try, now that the colors are better. Yeah. Because it's adding, we're still getting some bleed on the edges. Man, I wasted so much time. We didn't even get to see it in the game. It might look okay in the game. Let's real quick, base level equals 0.7f. So this is not okay when it's regular alpha. But alpha add, we can basically turn them down to make them not as bright. And so if we change this to, like if I change this, it should be really dark. Yeah, so they barely affect anything then. I'm going to have to go recenter all of those. Wow. Okay, so let's let them fade again. So the in color we want to be 0. And like I said, it just does not look like we're really producing 120 particles. And maybe it's because we're... It just doesn't. Like I've got the particles set. Like if I set this to 1200, what's going to happen? See, it's not any more. So there's some sort of max number of particles or something that's no, there's no way that's 100. And if I upped it to 1200 and it still didn't. So there's something I'm not understanding about how JMonkey Engine's particle effects work. And so I'm wondering if there's a num visible particles. Spawn but not dead. Okay, so it's keeping track of it. Particles per second. Get the number of particles to spawn per second. So probably what it is that the particles per second is so low. What is the default for particles per second, I wonder? It doesn't say. So let us say our particles live for only about a second. And nothing is setting that. So let's set the particles per second to be 120. Now we're talking. What does it look like if I change it back to alpha? Everything's going to be dark because I have it like, yeah, so that's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was why. Let's put these back to their full brightness. 1, 2. Yeah, so I wish I could make them fade in too. This is not at all what I want either, but it's kind of cool looking just the same. Whoa. Uh-oh. My system just locked up. There we go. Okay, so actually what I think is one problem is that everything is going too fast. So let's set the initial velocity down to something smaller. Yeah, lag here. Yeah, I mean my whole system locked up for a second. Okay, so now we need them to live longer. A lot longer. Yeah, so it uses all its particles right away. Let's launch 60 at a time. Okay, that's not really the effect I'm going for either. But let's turn this back off again. We'll get our ugly back. It's too bright. Let's set the base level to there. Yeah, still too bright really, because of all of the ones we've got layering on top of each other now. Okay, I don't hate that. Well, I kind of do. What if, because it's alpha add, it's even low, just changing the colors down is lowering how they get added together. Probably, let's change this back to 1. Change velocity to like 1.5. Let's make them move super fast. And make them smaller. So then what if I put this back? Okay, it's too tall. So we can lower these back down. So see, that's like taller than the player. But what I want is actually more to be down here. And we can affect that by setting this really small, I think, so we get some that just bubble at the bottom. Let's lower the max again. So let's emit maximum particles again. Yeah, I wish I could have them fade in, to be honest. There is no, I mean, again, I'm limited with what JMonkey Engine allows. I'd really like to be able to have like a start, mid. I need to look at, I may just need to extend it. I've wasted 2 hours messing with a particle system, and I'm not happy at all with the results. And so I really, the time maybe could have been better spent writing my own, but let's drop this down again. This is still too tall. It's because our velocity is so high now. This really needs to be somewhere around like, say, 0.75. Yeah, so see, that's I mean, I just wish there was some in between. The JMonkey Engine for a while, or somebody had developed like soft particles, and I don't know, and that would basically sort the particles, and so alpha worked better in that case. The problem with alpha now is that farther ones and nearer ones, I wonder if I can brighten those up by, will it let me set colors bigger than, what if I set this to 2? Yeah, I'm trying not to use external libraries. Because at that point, I start to get to the point. I really have ideas on how to write my own. I was just hoping to avoid it. I think probably what I need here is 2 sets of particles. So real quickly, let's just play with that. Let's play with the idea of creating a second one. And so this one will have fewer particles. It will go back to using stars. It will use alpha. Let's use the same emitter. probably smaller area. And so this is back to 5 and 1. Like, let's just see what I got. So we got like 2 sets. Why is it stretched out like that? Oh, was it 15 and 1? Did I count? This could be why. Oops. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, and so then we want these to be bigger. And they get smaller. So it runs through all its particles right away, right? Because I've still got this set really high. So let's just go back to the default of 20 for this one. Yeah, so I kind of just wanted a little hazy thing going on here, and we want these to be super short-lived. Yeah, but that's not good either. What if we leave the default emitter just a point? Oh, point way over the hell over there, though. And why is it jittering so badly? Okay, so let's put this back to 1. Let's make it 60. Put the blend mode alpha so we can see what's going on. They're never getting a chance to leave the ground, which isn't really what I want. I do want right initial velocity. Yeah, so they're never moving. What did I do wrong? Oh, they're moving away from me. No. What did I do wrong? Or they're shrinking really fast. That's what it is. Yeah, okay. So now they look crazy. Let's go back to our emitter shape, and we'll just set the size very small. Shape, margin. So we'll make it like just a little bit in the middle. Alright. And I'm by no means an animator, but given the limitations of what you want to make. Well, when it's done, I mean, you can download it now. In the upper left corner, you can grab, you can download it and try it out. The test engine's up there. Upper left corner, you can type that link in. You can also join the Discord there. I think I want the velocity to be slower. Yeah, I just have a specific effect, you know, Max, I have a specific effect in mind, and I feel like I'm getting farther and farther from it. I probably should have animated it in Blender first and got an idea of what I wanted it to look like. I think I do want animation variation here. Or velocity variation here. We'll let them live a little longer. This is not using the right texture though, is it? Or either that or the stars. Yeah, it must be the stars. They've got a little divot in the corner there. Okay, and so let's make this more like this. Yeah, so see, I want smoky, hazy. Let's make the margin a little wider. And we will move it up. We will set its layer to be after the other one. It's one thing I have the ability to do that is not in JMonkey Engine by default. So this one will always be rendered on top. And now if we set the alpha back, woo, too much. Oh yeah, I've still got this set way high. There we go. And because that's smoke, I need to put my color back. It's not gonna like that. Let's make it more blue. Oops, not green, green. There we go. I mean, that's getting there. Again, now all of the definition of the other has been removed. So if we take this off for a second. Okay, so that's what that looks like just on its own. Let me put this in here. Again, I wish they faded in. If I turn the brightness up on these guys, it will hide more of that. No, it doesn't really. I kind of like the colors here. I don't know, it gets the point across? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do some drawing. We should have really done the portals. That would have been better. Could have had smoke coming off the edges of them or something. That's an effect that's easier to imagine. Real quickly, let me try one more thing. Let's set both of these to be the stars. Could rewrite the stars. Whoopsie. I don't hate that. It's kind of cool. Yeah. That's probably as close as I'm going to get to what I see in my head. Without adding a disc here to hide the sin of those appearing particles. I think this is probably okay. Yeah, and it's getting late. I will finish this up tonight or tomorrow, and I will show you what it looks like in the game, maybe. And then we can play with the portal too, maybe. Oh, that's the other portal. Actually, that's kind of cool. That's not the one I wanted. Cheers, man. Okay, one more thing. There we go. So then we have portals, where to go. There it is. Alright, so yeah, I'll post a video later, guys. Thanks for hanging out so long. My poor computer is running like 61 degrees C, which is hot for this one. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you can download the video and check it out. I have download the game and check it out. Otherwise, I hope you have a productive week, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.